snag.
Alright, today we're going to tie the Jack Daniels. This is basically just a hard body fly with a soft hackle and a collar. I believe the original is a gray body with black peacock eye stub as the collar. This one's a little bit more subdued, and I particularly like this version. So we're just going to use some Coq de Leon fibers for the tail. Anything speckled will work just fine. Those are my favorite. And some tan 70 denier ultra thread. And instead of the black peacock eye stub for the collar, we're going to use this SLF Whitlocks #1. Kind of hard to see. I'll put it in the description. And then we're going to use the Dragonfly dark color. So has some flash in it, but it's also natural fibers, so I particularly like that one. And we're going to tie this on a size 14 Umpqua XC 400 BL with a 3.3 millimeter slotted copper bead. So we'll get our thread started here, and it's going to take a little bit of work to get this shape build up for our body, but it's worth it. And we're just building a carrot shape here. And I'm going to grab, I don't know, 8 to 10 fibers off the CDL feather. Make our tails about the length of the body. And I like to kind of pull them into place. Secure those guys down. And now we can really start to build this carrot shape, clean up the body a little bit, build some bulk. And you do need to build it a little bigger than you would think. Once you lay the epoxy on there, the UV resin rather, it tends to make it look a little thinner than it did when you were just wrapping it up. So we're going to give it a few more passes here. And now we've got our bead secure. Alright, clean that little bump. Alright, so we're going to start just a little bit before the tail end there and color some thread with our black marker. And then we're going to clockwise spin our thread to cord it up. And now we've got a couple turns left of tan to work our thread back before it gets into the black. And then we're gonna, I don't like where that started. There we go. And then we're gonna rib the body with our black thread. Real quick and easy way to rib a body. And then we're gonna use some Solar Res ultra thin bone dry. And really let it soak into the threads here. Build up the shape we're looking for. Okay. Let it kind of sink into the shape we're looking for before we hit it with our light. And this next step, I don't know if it's really necessary, But I like to strip off a good, pull off about a foot, 16 inches of our thread, and color the whole thing black with our marker. I just don't want any of this tan thread showing through our dubbing loop or our collar. So now we're going to make the dubbing loop about 6 inches long. And now we have our loop, and it's hard to see, I'm wearing a black shirt. The thread on the right side here, we're gonna put a little wax on it, and then the thread on the left over here, we're gonna put our dubbing noodle, Dragonfly Dark SLF dubbing, and we want this to be about 1.25 inches long noodle. Nothing crazy as far as thickness. Dub it really tight. Slide that guy up into place. Now comes our CDC. So I've already prepared the CDC. It's about 3/4 of an inch long, and this is what is this? This is medium gray done. You can use any color, of course, but basically once we lay this in our dubbing loop, we're gonna spin that up with the dubbing noodle. And that makes the CDC fibers come through the noodle rather than laying in your CDC and then doing your dubbing collar. So it makes for a really clean CDC collar here. Give that a good tight spin. We don't want any of these CDC fibers pulling out after we get this all built. So now we can start wrapping it up. Sweeping our fibers back, of course, as we turn this in. Cinching them down nice and tight behind the bead. And then I'm going to go an extra wrap. Whoop. And so I'm going to pull up on the noodle, or on the dubbing loop, and then down on the thread. Really cinch it in there tight before I secure it down with a couple wraps. Alright, that sucker's in there good. Make it last a lot longer if you do that. Also not necessary, we're going to color a little bit more of our thread black for our whip finish. I think it just finishes it off nice. It looks pretty good. Let's sweep everything back. Any rogues or extra long fibers, you can just break them off with your thumb. And that looks pretty good. That's it, the Jack Daniels. So this is one that I use as a point fly often. If I need something heavy that's going to sink fast, this is a great fly. That hard body and the 3.3 millimeter bead will really get down there quick. And then obviously with the CDC collar, it gives it a lot of movement in the water. And I catch a lot of fish on this guy, so go ahead and comment with any variations that you like. I'd love to see them. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.